Welcome back. Welcome back. We are here. We are talking some Orlando Magic, the team on the rise that we all think is going to have a big kind of, I guess you could say, second year in development jump. I mean, I guess they took their semi jump last year, but this is really the year I think that we get to see the Magic really compete and have like a solid regular season. But they did have one last year. They beat a lot of teams that were like the top of the East, like to beat the Celtics 3 times. They played the Cavs tough. Like they just played a lot of tough games against the best teams, and I think that's a recipe for success. And I think this year we see more of the teams, like more wins over teams that are just kind of mid and that they're just better than. And I think the Magic take a step up. But I know Finn wants to get a shout out in, so let's do it.
Just shouts out the dog Cole Anthony. Shouts out Team Rio National. Shouts out Jersey AU. Shouts out Shore AU. Shouts out Rainy. I'm a big Magic guy. I love the Youngtown. I'm a big Franz guy. I'm not as much a Mo guy. I'm not like hating on him or anything. I got no qualms with him, but it's just that I'm a huge Franz guy. I respect the hell out of Franz game. I think Franz is criminally underrated. You got anyone in particular you want to highlight before we get into it, Slim? I'd say I'll highlight Cole and I'll highlight Franz.
Man, shout out to Cole Anthony. I think he's one of the most underrated guards in the league. I think that he reminds me of a lot of Jalen Brunson, not just in regards to size, but also craftiness and willingness to, want to get a bucket and also facilitate for his team. I think that with the right pieces around him and Paolo, shout out to P5. I think that, like I said, if you watch the Team USA I said that a lot of these stars have the capability, or a lot of these players have the capability to become all-stars this upcoming season. And I expect that for Paolo Banchero. Rookie of the year, had a phenomenal season, showed that he had the gusto to step in the league as a rookie and play as if he's already been in the league for multiple years. So I believe in the Orlando Magic. I think that if they orchestrate some more pieces, shout out to Jalen Suggs. You got a squad that can get in, get out. I think the East is filled with teams with potential, and I think Orlando can kind of show what the Indiana Pacers did last season. I'm looking forward to.
Love that comp.
No, they were just as good as the Pacers. I think the Pacers are another team that are going to rise.
For sure.
I like that comp.
I think it's all about market, and then I expect the Magic to have a bigger market because, like, out of all the corporations that really, are on top, I'd say Disney is definitely the one. You know what I'm saying? So I think that if they had more star talent, or if they had somebody at Disney to really try to really market their
Fuck Disney,
teams.
I'm trying to hold it in. Oh my gosh, I was trying to hold it in that whole time.
I think a lot more could be done for the.
Hold your horses. Are you seriously enjoying this fire content without liking, commenting, and subscribing? We're glad you're here at This or That NBA podcast. We want you to stick around. It's easiest to do that by liking, commenting, and subscribing. It's free. It takes 1 second, and we really appreciate it. Thanks for your time. Let me read you some names. Cole Anthony, Paolo Banchero, Wendell Carter, Markelle Fultz, Gary Harris, Joe Ingles, Jonathan Isaac, Jalen Suggs, Franz, and Franz Wagner. They're deep. That's like 11, 12 guys I just named.
Yeah.
Shout out to Markelle Fultz.
The one guy I want to highlight, and I think it's kind of a make or break season for him just because he's been injured for so long, but he has the potential to be so good, is Jonathan Isaac.
I like him a lot.
He's 6'8", 6'9", I think. Or 6'10", excuse me. 6'10". 6'10", lank. Hell of a defender. Obviously, he's been hurt for years on end, it feels like. He got a little bit of burn coming back this year. But he's one of those guys that if he plays to what I feel like a lot of Magic fans have his standard to be, or what they expect of him, which I would say is a 15-point per game guy that's a pest on defense, everything like that. Like, that is a guy that can elevate you from a 33 win season to like a 40 win season if you get that kind of production from a quality role player. And I think Jonathan Isaac definitely has the capability to do that for them.
I love shout out our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. I'm a big fan of Jonathan Isaac's relation to the preaching, that type of thing as well. TOT is very, very friendly with that. Also, I'd like to shout out to what's his name? Wendell Carter Jr.
Facts.
Matt, this was your guy at one point.
I don't know about my guy.
Well, this was a guy that you were a fan of at one point.
I guess. I definitely think, like, when I was seeing him, like, the stuff he was doing on the Magic since coming over from the Bulls has been a totally different player. And I'm like, this guy has potential to be really, really good.
Yeah.
And he's just another one of those guys that's like a high-quality role player for the Magic. And it's honestly just, like, about a couple of them taking a bit of a leap, and you're right where you need to be in that, like, playoff contention area. And as long as they get in the play-in, I think it's a successful season for the Magic.
Yeah, I love
but
that call.
I also could see them, like, they could, I don't know if they're going to sneak into the 60 just because of how talented and deep the East is, but I wouldn't be shocked if I saw them in a top 8 seed. I wouldn't be.
What they finish last year?
10 or 11 or 12.
Yeah, they were like 12, dude.
I could see 8. I could see them over the Chicago Bulls. And
so could I. That's just my high end. Like, that's, I wouldn't.
I don't like the Bulls, bro. We can talk about the Bulls one of these days. I don't like the Bulls.
They finished 13. They finished 34, and they were 1 game back of 11.
Okay.
But and 6 back of the 10 seed. But, like, I could see the Bulls taking a step back. I could see the Raptors taking a step back. I could see that obviously Washington's going to be a little worse. Like, there's a lot of teams that can take a step back, and I think as long as you're in that top 10 for the if you're the Magic, that's a successful season. If you can win one of the play-in games, if you're a 9 or 10 seed, I think that's a hell of a season.
Who's their head coach?
Oh, I know this, and you're going to put me on the spot, but I'm not.
I don't know his name.
I'm not going to remember his name, but I have to see. Hold up.
Fact check.
TOT fact check.
Jamal Mosley. Thank you.
I don't know. I'm not familiar with your game, Jamal. I think they could be around 10. They could be. I think they're a play-in team.
Yeah, I think a play-in team is what they should. I think they're like they have play-in written all over them. But I wouldn't be shocked if they were like, oh, they're an 8 seed. This guy took a jump. Franz decided to average 25 this year. So did
Which I think he can do. He's a 3-level scorer. We talk about this in the pod all the time. It's a guy who can get to the bucket. It's a guy who can take mid-ranges. It's a guy who can hit open threes. He facilitates the ball well. He has good court vision. I feel like he has better sense of the game than his brother, low-key. I don't know. He's flashy and quick while also being strong with a good base. I like Franz a lot. We talked about him. I think it was
Breakout Stars.
The Breakout Stars. I check that video out also. That was a fire video. But
I think Franz. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was about to say Franz a bucket.
Yeah, for sure. I think Franz and Mo are both double trouble, when it comes to brothers. And really, so bear with me for a second. We talked about the Pistons, and y'all know how we feel about the Pistons. Y'all know how I feel about
the Pistons.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm the one I'm the middle ground here. I'm connecting these two. But
so we've done, and Cade Cunningham was in that list, right?
Yeah.
For the upcoming season. So, and then he's been injured, but we presume that this upcoming season he's gonna really show the league his potential, what he's been capable of, and continue to develop that. And I think that the same is to be said with Markelle Fultz. I think Markelle is finally stepping into that era of I'm showing you my potential. I'm showing you my growth within this last season. And I think now he is healthy and a lot more comfortable within the system that Orlando has provided. And I think that is ready to play his game and ready to show up for his team because of the guys that are around him, and they finally have a belief system within the core. And I think that being around a cat like Cole Anthony, Paolo, and the rest of the guys are really gonna allow him to play his game, and I think that when I think like spark plug of the year, like that's just a cat who can get a bucket, shows fearlessness, and somebody that you can rely on, kind of like how Jordan Poole was a couple years ago. I think that we'll see a lot of Markelle Fultz showing up for the Orlando Magic this upcoming season. And I think that they can orchestrate a nice rhythm that works for the team, for them to be able to use their size. The Dallas Mavericks just let go of JaVale McGee, so that would be a nice pickup for the Orlando Magic if they wanted to, have McGee come off the bench. And I think they can make a shake.
I like Markelle Fultz from the mid-range.
Sure.
8 seed's definitely high, but
it's 9 to 11.
Yeah, I think that's the range they'll probably end up in. And I think if you get that 9-10, you're in a good spot. If you get the 7-8, you're in a great spot. I think that's the best way to describe it. But yeah, I just think Finn ran through all the names basically in the rotation. You already have your 2 bona fide guys in Franz and Paolo.
Mm-hmm.
Then you're going to need kind of a third guy, maybe a little tandem of 3 and 4.
Jonathan Isaac,
Wendell Carter, Jalen Suggs, Cole Anthony. Like, one of those guys has to step up.
I want it to be Jonathan Isaac, bro.
So do I. But I think he's probably the best chance too. But one of like Suggs, Fultz, Anthony, any of those guys, that one of them or 2 of them are going to have to take a little bit of a jump. Also, so do Franz and Paolo. But for them to get to that great level, one of those two is going to have to take a bigger jump, and then one of those 3 is going to have to really find his niche in the Orlando system, and then that's when they really get to be one of those teams where you're like, oh, Magic aren't a pushover anymore. And I think they're moving away from that.
Can we take a second here and actually talk about Paolo? I think as a sophomore, I mean, a guy coming into his second year who's that versatile, who's so like deliberate with his movements. He controls the pace of the game well. I think he's a great passer. He's a good defender. He's strong enough. He's fast enough. I feel like he's a prototypical 2023 NBA point guard who's should be a small forward in the mid 2000s.
I like that.
Yeah, he's like one of those typical like swing man guys. That's outside wing that also has a little bit of big to him.
But he's the same way I brought up the Mikal Bridges thing where I want him playing point guard. Like, I just mean that in the sense of like, if there's a problem, the ball goes to his hands. That's what Paolo's going to be, I think, for the squad. I think the ball goes to him before it goes to Franz.
Yeah, I don't hate
that. He
could
definitely be the 3.
Yeah, like I definitely think that Paolo, 1, had an incredible rookie season. 2, I think Team USA is going to help him massively.
Yep.
Being under the tutelage of Steve Kerr and Eric Spoelstra for 2 months, like that stuff doesn't go unnoticed. And
watching guys who have made the jump he's trying to make.
Yeah, and no offense to his coach, but he's not Steve Kerr or Eric Spoelstra. So like you learn things from them that you're not gonna. Obviously, it's a different style, and you're not the guy. But like you're gonna learn things from Kerr and Spoelstra that you don't get from just. I don't want to say a run-of-the-mill head coach, but like that stuff is super, super important, and that's the stuff that's the teachable stuff that you learn. And it's his first year. He's just going out there and hooping. Now he knows how the NBA game's played. He knows where I have to be in this spot. And I think Paolo's due for a big, big, big jump this year. I think he's going to have one of those second-year jumps that everyone's like, whoa, kind of like Luka and Trey had. Or second.
I think I'll second that. That's TOT stamped. He's so level-headed with the ball. Like he's a good decision-maker. He seems to be a little clutch, too. I like him.
I like the first name that you mentioned in comparison, Luka Doncic. I think that his pace, and the way that he utilizes his body really shows up in his game. And I also think, like, shout out to Luka. I saw Luka, he scored like 37, but I think a narrative that is being more like light is being shined on more within the league is how difficult it is to play overseas, because we have a lot of overseas players coming into the NBA. I think that because of the skill level just around the world, for these young guys to be on FIBA right now playing for Team USA, I think that they are going to have a field day when it gets back, when it comes back to the league, just because they notice that it's a more physical game overseas. The refs aren't calling as much, so they're having I wouldn't say a tough time adjusting, but just a process to adjusting to how the game is played, the pace of the game, the physicality, and also the mental aspect of it, when being able to have to understand the referees and what type of plays they're calling. So once it comes down to the league, I think that a lot of these young players, not only are they, I know Paolo's probably texting Steve Kerr and Coach Spo like every 5 seconds, like, what is it? Like, what can I do? Trying to update their game and evolve their game. So once it comes down to October 24th, these cats are really ready and able to lead their team and really play on a different level that a lot of people are gonna be excited to watch for their teams that haven't really been doing anything. That's why I say don't sleep on any of the teams who were 12 seed, 13, or whatever last season, because the skill is continuing to grow, and we're about to see a hell of a season.
Totals?
Pulling it up right as we speak. But, all right. But, yeah, I mean, obviously, I think the Magic are going to be one of those teams that's on the rise. I don't know if they're going to have, like, the biggest jump. I would say the Pacers have the biggest jump in the East from being where they were to where they're going to get now. But let me pull up the Magic win total. All right. Over, under 36.
Oh.
36 and a half.
Under.
Under. That's not a 10 seed.
You don't think?
No, that's basically what they were last year.
What were they, 34 and
48?
I think they can win. I'll go under. I'm going against the grain. I know I said 10 seed a little earlier, but now that I'm hearing the numbers and stuff, I'm going to go under. I could be totally wrong about that.
I think they'll be better than the Bulls. They'll be better than the Raptors. They'll be better than the Wizards. I think they'll be on the fence between 8 and 9 seed with Charlotte. And they'll leave another
good.
team. That's what I'm saying. And
So
then if
you
Miles Bridges
over under 36 and a half.
I got over.
I just feel like I've taken too many overs.
I'll take 37.
Okay.
Yep. I'm going to go over too. I just think that number's a little low. I think it'll be very close. I think it's a good line. I think they'll probably get around 39 is going to be my final number. I think they're going to get to 39. But I could easily see them being a 500 ball club with Jonathan Isaac and one of the other guys taking a jump this year.
You might have talked me into it, Matt. I wanted to do that off rip, but I felt as if I've been giving too many overs recently. And I was like, damn, I'm kind of running out of teams here. So I'm going to go over, though. My gut was making me think it was over.
But, yeah, I mean, that's a wrap for this video. If you guys have any comments, like anything, just let us know. Like, comment, subscribe. We'll see you guys next time. And if you are into Star Wars, go check out our Star Wars channel, This or That Star Wars.
You dig?
Ahsoka, all that stuff coming out. See you guys soon.